Hello and welcome to the midweek mindfulness break for the first week of October, maybe week and a half. I thought, well, let's see. Today the moon is in Taurus, so earthy Taurus. The moon is waning off of its full moon from earlier this week on Monday, and I'm running a little late. It's been a busy week, so we're posting a day later than usual. This meditation. But I thought, based on the way I'm feeling, based on what's happening around us every day, the news and in our local communities, that it might help to explore um, and hold with care our emotional landscape. And we're going to use the rain technique, and I'll explain that as we go here. So, this practice is it's it's a standalone meditation, and we will move through these steps to sort of bring us aware specifically of any emotional tension or sensation in the body. And it's an acronym that stands for, so the acronym is RAIN, and it stands for recognize what's going on, allow the experience to be there just as it is, investigate with interest and care, and then nurture yourself with self-compassion. And it's just about realizing that you're no longer imprisoned or identified with any limiting sense of self. It's a gift of just becoming familiar with the truth and natural freedom of your being, right? It's both mysterious and precious, this human experience. So this is just a way to help you kind of tap into your human experience in a way that is very caring and compassionate towards yourself. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to keep it within 20 minutes. So take a moment to find your comfortable posture and allow yourself to connect the soles of your feet to the floor. So wherever it is that you decide to sit, it's probably best in a chair or a couch so that you can rest the soles of your feet on the floor or the ground. And then when you're ready and you find your posture, you can gently close your eyes or gaze softly toward the space in front of you. And then begin the practice by taking a couple of cleansing breaths. That's a nice, long, slow, deep inhale through the nose, and then sighing it out of your mouth, the exhale. This will help you fully arrive in the present moment. And repeat this a couple times at your own pace. And then begin to allow the breath to become natural, allowing your autonomic nervous system to breathe the body. Allow the breath to have its own pace, its own depth, its own rhythm. And just take the next couple rounds of breath to settle here with your natural breathing. And then after a couple of rounds of breathing, begin to check in with the overall feeling tone of your whole body, mind, and spirit. Just noticing what's present in the here and the now. Witnessing and allowing for whatever is there to be there with kindness, without any judgment. And then we'll begin, before we start the rain investigative meditation, let's ground ourselves. So this is a little grounding and resourcing tool that I use. And it starts by noticing the soles of your feet and begin to notice and feel the contact of the soles of your feet with the ground. And take a couple rounds of breath to sit with the connection of your feet to the floor or your feet to the ground. And then begin to gently shift your awareness to the center of your chest, your heart center. I like to place my palm, the palm of my hand, on my chest. And take a moment to feel the connection of the palm of your hand and the chest. And if you notice that you're holding any tension within and around the heart center, you might invite in a sense of softening and opening there. And so this is your resourcing tool for the practice today. If at any point throughout the remainder of the practice, as we get into this rain technique, you feel overwhelmed, then just come back to this, noticing soles of the feet on the floor. Place your hand on your heart and just notice both at the same time, the chest and the ground. And so you can keep your hand there for the practice, or you can release it back down as we'll begin to explore the emotional landscape using the rain technique. So in this moment, begin to notice what's going on. Notice what thoughts, what feelings and behaviors that are affecting you in this moment. And you might even ask yourself silently, what's going on for me right now? And if for some reason nothing arises in this moment, nothing obvious, then you might recall a recent uncomfortable experience that you've ruminated over, and then gently remember what that experience felt like, if you feel okay doing that. But ultimately, just checking in and noticing what's happening in this moment. And as things begin to come up, as you begin to notice, then we work into the next phase of the practice, which is allow. Allow the experience to be there just as it is. So this means letting thoughts, emotions, feelings, or sensations in the body that you have recognized to just be there without trying to fix anything or avoid anything. You might recognize something like fear, something uncomfortable, and you might allow it by mentally whispering to yourself, it's okay, or this belongs, or yes. And then you might ask yourself, is it okay to be with this? Can I be with this? Allowing creates a pause that can deepen your attention to this experience. Take a couple breaths here now to recognize and allow. And then we'll move on to the next phase, which is investigate with interest and care. To investigate, call on your natural curiosity, the desire to know the truth, and direct a more focused attention to your present experience. You might ask yourself, what most wants attention? How am I experiencing this in my body? What am I believing? What does this vulnerable place want from me? What does it most need? These are some investigative questions that you can explore when you're noticing and allowing and recognizing. And note that your investigation will be most transformational if you step away from like conceptualizing it or intellectualizing it and bring your a primary sense to what you're feeling, this felt sense in the body. And if at any point it feels overwhelming, you can come back to the resourcing tool of noticing feet on the ground, placing a hand on your heart. But be with this space of recognizing, allowing, and now investigating what's there. And then we'll move on to the next phase, which is nurture with self-compassion. So this begins to naturally arise when you're recognizing you are suffering. If it comes into fullness as you intentionally nurture your inner life with care. So begin to sense the wounded, frightened, or hurting place inside you and what it needs most. And then offer some gestures of active care that might address this need. So perhaps it's a message of reassurance or forgiveness or companionship or love. Experiment and see what intentional gesture of kindness helps comfort and soften and open your heart. It might be the mental whisper, I'm here for you. I'm sorry and I love you. And I'm listening. Or it's not your fault. In this space, we need to trust in our own goodness. Again, this might be another opportunity to place your hand on your heart or even like on your cheek and just hold your face, your cheek in your hand. You might imagine yourself being bathed or embraced by a warm and radiant light. And if it feels difficult to offer yourself this nurturing care and love, you might bring to mind a being or family member, or friend or pet, even, and imagine that being's love and wisdom flowing into you. And then we move on to the final phase. We call this after the rain, just allowing yourself to hold space here in this quality of your own presence and this tender, wakeful space of awareness, holding your embodied presence with care and kindness. And just take these last few rounds of breathing, maybe 5 to 10 more rounds of breath to just hold space for yourself in this caring and compassionate, tender space of awareness. And then let's bring our awareness back into our heart space, center of your chest. And this time, if you can, invite in the felt sense of gratitude. Gratitude for being human, for this human experience. Gratitude for this practice, taking the time today. And anything else that you might be grateful for today. And then as you're ready, we can release the practice. Begin by taking a few deeper breaths. Again, feel your body, feel the room that you're in, taking note of where you are. And then when it feels right and appropriate, you can begin to flicker your eyes open, bringing your hands to your heart in any gesture that feels good to you today. Gently bowing your head down to honor yourself and your practice. Thank you so much for being here today. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Thank you. We'll see you next week.